There's absolutely no doubt that this programme for government will create more and better paid jobs. It will create a strong and more sustainable economy. It will build a fairer Scotland. It will tackle inequality, and it will pass significant powers to our people and our communities. However, I do regret a part of the government's plan from government, and I see that that doesn't even get my Cabinet Secretary's attention, but what I regret is the sentence that says £104 million in 2005 to 2016 to mitigate welfare reforms being imposed by Westminster. I regret that sentence because it would have been so much better if the decisions about welfare to have been made here in Scotland, where our money could have been used for the benefit of people and not to undo wrongs from elsewhere. I was hopeful that the Smith Commission might have given us some hope in this direction, but I stand with the STUC as being underwhelmed.
Jackie Bailey.
The member for taking an intervention. I genuinely took hope from the Smith Commission when they said they would give the power to this Parliament to set their own benefits.
Clare Adamson.
What we need is control of the whole welfare system, which is not coming to Scotland. Presiding Officer, by any measure, austerity, whether it's promised by the Labour Party or delivered by Tories and Lib Dems, austerity is a failed policy. A Chancellor who has staked his entire reputation of the UK Government on aggressive deficit reduction, regardless of dreadful economic and social cost, has categorically failed, and we see in some measures borrowing actually increasing. And the social cost of austerity Britain is not working. Presiding Officer, I return to a New Scientist article that I've quoted in this Parliament before from 2013, which talks about the true cost of cuts. And it says the immediate consequences of austerity may give way to more enduring and insidious effects on health. It is plausible that protracted economic hardship will lead to an increase in heart attacks, strokes and depression. Stress hormones are known to trigger and exacerbate these conditions, and it is hard to argue that those worrying about security of their jobs, homes, families and finances are not experiencing high levels of stress. They go on to say the effects of health, on the other hand, largely go undiscussed in the political arena. This article, I believe, shows that the assumption that when austerity ends and the belt tightening goes away and house prices start to rise and the economy improves, that health problems will not exist. But people affected by those problems will undergo genetic transformation. For some babies in the womb, it will happen because of the stress hormones of their mothers, and it will be a generational problem that we'll have to face in Scotland. What is really worrying about austerity is it's not about the wealth of our nation, it's also detrimental to the health of our nation. And that is why I'm so pleased that while I regret the necessity to mitigate for problems from elsewhere, I do welcome the measure the Government's work programme has designed to tackle poverty, to tackle health and social inequalities in our country. Can I go on to talk about the community empowerment, which is very welcome, and I look forward to the People and Communities Fund, which will have an additional £10 million to allocate next year, and that will doubling the resource that will be able to deliver power to our communities. I also welcome the bill that will end the historic poll tax debt collection, and I also welcome the manifesto commitment to establish an independent commission to examine fairer alternatives to the current council tax system. And the Commission will be established in conjunction with local authorities in COSLA, and it will start its work early next year to deliver an alternative. And I listened very carefully to Ali Shirley's concerns about the council tax, and I'm a bit more sympathetic to hearing it from him, and not from the rest of the Labour benches, who of course stood in a manifesto promise of a council tax freeze. It's been affected.
Order, please.
Fully funded. Oh. The council tax freeze has been attacked in this chamber by Labour, by Tories, and regrettably by the Green Party yesterday. And while I welcome the commitment to seek a fairer system, I must defend what has been an essential policy across my region in central Scotland. Alex Salmond at the SNP conference talked of the £1,200 average that hard-pressed, hard-working families had saved through the council tax freeze. And I feel I have to do a bit of history lesson on this, because the council tax was a tax out of control. It had risen by nearly 50%. Council tax accounts for only 10.8% of revenues for councils.
Final minute.
But families were hard-pressed by this. And I remind them, in Labour heartland of North Lanarkshire, 83% of families live in Band D or below properties. And that £1,200 to them was an essential lifeline when they were hard-pressed by the financial downturn and the current. I can't believe that I'm hearing Labour members say that the 52,363 people in North Lanarkshire and Band A properties didn't deserve the council tax freeze. That's money to really hard-pressed families. This idea that there are middle classes running around, hordes of them rubbing their hands in glee, benefiting.
Order, please. We want to hear the member closing.
Poor families, hard-pressed families, struggling families that have benefited from the council tax freeze, and it's actually a lifeline to them over the course of this government.